We're going to talk about Anthony Edwards today. I'm going to let this chick do the heavy lifting. Let's get to it.
In 20 years, when Anthony Edwards is sitting down for his 30 for 30 interview on ESPN, I want to make sure that people don't forget how he treated his children at birth. Shout out to In Touch Weekly because they're giving us an update on Anthony Edwards and Ayesha Howard's paternity case. In Touch Weekly is stating that Anthony Edwards' attorneys had scored a big win in their motion filed in the Los Angeles County Clerk of Courts. Now, the court granted a motion brought by Anthony where he had argued that California was the wrong state to determine child support for their daughter, Aubrey Howard, who was born in October of 2024. Just for reference, the reason why that motion was filed in the state of California is because California doesn't have a cap on child support, but states like Georgia do. So if Ayesha would have been able to retain her case in California, well, there'd be no cap on how much child support she could get for that child. Now, Anthony alleged that Ayesha lived in Georgia despite her claim in court that she moved to California before giving birth to Aubrey. Aubrey was born in California, and Anthony claimed that Ayesha delivered the child in LA and filed her case in California in an attempt to score higher child support from him. And Anthony's lawyers argued that what she had done was unjustifiable and a bad faith attempt to obtain a higher child support order. Ayesha's conduct of manufacturing a false reality and using the party's child for financial gains should not be tolerated. The judge ruled that California lacked jurisdiction regarding child support, which means the decision will likely go to the judge presiding over Anthony's case in Georgia. The LA judge did set a hearing for March 20th, so that's coming up pretty soon, to determine if custody and visitation of Aubrey will be set by California courts. Anthony wrote in his declaration to the judge that Ayesha and I have one minor child together, Aubrey Howard. Paternity was recently established through DNA testing. I am not seeking custody or visitation of Aubrey. Therefore, the only issue to resolve is financial in nature. It's just so hard here, just reading it. Like, I know it's a court case, but it's hard reading it because it's like these are real people. Like Aubrey Howard, his daughter is a real person. And when his daughter gets older, she's going to read those court documents, hearing that her father wanted absolutely no visitation or any custody of her at all. And I understand that people are going to come into the comment section saying, well, that's the mom's fault. He told her he didn't want a child, and he told her that that child would be fatherless, and she continued on with having that child. But at the same time, he also had a duty and a responsibility to have protected sex. He also didn't do that either. So he also knew that there was a chance that having unprotected sex could lead to a child being born. And he still took that risk. And now here are the consequences of that risk. After he had made that response, Ayesha and her attorneys wrote back and said, from that point on, after she had disclosed that she was pregnant, Anthony never reached out to me to inquire about my well-being, the well-being of our child, or any need I had during my pregnancy. I did not receive any support, emotional, financial, or otherwise, throughout the entire duration of my pregnancy. Of course, too, she also has a duty and a responsibility, but be in mind, she fulfilled her duty and responsibility. She gave birth to the child. Of course, she's older, so there's a cautionary tale about trying to trap a man. You understand what I mean? But like at the end of the day, their child is going to read these court documents, and it's going to reflect a lot about how a father just abandoned her.
So that's what you got out of all of that stuff that you read. What you telling me, what you got is that the daughter is going to grow up fatherless and then read that he abandoned her. And that's just it. That's it right there. Boom. That's it. That's all you got from that. That's the biggest highlight that you got from that. That's after all the finessing you just read about. That's the point. That's the point to put a period on. That's the point to make. I'm going to play another clip before I get into my shit. But listen, one thing I want you to know that was not put in there. This chick already has a celebrity baby dad, Lil Baby. Lil Baby is already one of her baby dads. Let's just get to the next clip. Let's get to it.
Anthony Edwards told that 14-year-old sack chaser that he's not going to be involved in that child's life. He doesn't want visitation rights and all this other stuff, right? He was being honest and upfront. And everybody's trying to give him backlash like this woman's not a sack chaser. Now, was Anthony Edwards dead wrong? Of course he's dead wrong. He still nutted in her and created a baby with his woman, and now he doesn't want any responsibility with this child. That's not a good look. Being a deadbeat father used to be frowned upon in the black community back in the day. It used to be frowned upon. Now, since we got rich people doing it, y'all make excuses for him like, oh yeah, he's being honest, he doesn't have to be there, but he's doing the same thing Future been doing for years. And just because they have money, you guys make excuses for being a not shit father. This week I made a video about Future basically saying Future is lame because he's 40 years old, still messing with multiple women, and he's a not shit father. He's an absent father, but since he's a rich man, y'all make an excuse and make it seem like it's cool to do that. That's not cool. No matter how much money you have, being an irresponsible man, nutting in multiple women, having multiple children that you're not gonna be there for is lame. Period, point blank, no matter the age or how rich you are. It's lame, period. And don't get me started on our black women, bro. Our black women love baby mama drama. They love it. Their favorite celebrity or Instagram baddie is a baby mother. They would love to be a BBL baby mother. That's what they would strive to be because their favorite person is that. And then they love the drama of it, bro. Like, when are we gonna wake up, bro? When are we gonna wake up? This shit is sad. It's embarrassing.
So, with some of that, most of that, I disagree. Let's talk about what I agree with first. The first thing, as far as the first clip and what the first lady said, I do agree that it is unfair to the child for her to grow up without a father. I agree with that 100%. I agree that that's a bad thing, right? So let's just get that out the way. I agree that that is bad on the child. The child suffers because of this. So that's the first thing. Now, the other thing I agree with that they both mentioned is that he is a guy, made an irresponsible decision by nutting in this woman. That's a fact. It's an undeniable fact. It's scientific. It's just a fact. It's mathematical, however you want to put it, bro. It's just a fact. And the last thing that I agree with the Scarface Mark said, it is lame to be running around having unprotected sex with a bunch of women, having a bunch of kids regardless. I don't get it. Look, I don't know what twist he put on it after that, like saying like that you don't plan to take care of or whatever. I just think, period, running around and having like 18 baby moms is garbage. That's my stance on it. Nick Cannon, Elon Musk, I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't fuck with that. Now that we got all that out the way as far as what I agree with, let's talk about some of the major disagreements that I have. Let me get this overarching principle that I have out of the way because it overarches this whole situation and pretty much anything that's been said, anything that I'm about to say. Let's look at the society that we live in because everybody wants to get on their moral high horse, right? Deadbeat dads were something that used to be frowned upon. Now we're celebrating deadbeat dads. We, wiggle in the future music, and it's just a great thing to be a deadbeat dad, right? Let's look at the society that we live in. The society that we live in, honestly, the majority of people are pro-choice. Pro-choice. Feminists support pro-choice. Period, point blank. If you go out and you just go talk to a random chick and ask them, you pro-choice or pro-life? Just go ask them, bro. Most chicks that you see, because this is who it affects and who it impacts, most of them are pro-choice. If you don't understand what I'm saying, if you don't understand what that means, they are for abortions. They are for getting rid of the baby. They are for killing the fetus. They are for throwing the baby that is in her stomach, whatever point it is, the embryo, whatever. It's an actual living being, throwing it in the trash, to yanking it out, throwing it. They are for that. That is the society that we live in. We don't go around like the majority, like it's not a big narrative, especially amongst black people, especially in the black community, to run around calling women who get abortions murderers. It's not a big thing and a major thing, a common thing for us to run around calling these women who get abortions baby killers. This is something that is widely accepted by most people in our society. And it's something that if you look at it, if you really look at it, it's really fucked up. But guess what? We eat meat and we have slaughterhouses. Man, I ate some Kentucky Fried Chicken the other day, man. But listen, man, Pamela Anderson Lee had a site back in the 90s. early 2000s, called Kentucky Fried Cruelty. The stuff that they do in those slaughterhouses is very inhumane. So we have a lot of fuck shit in society that we condone. We condone. And I'm not about to get on this page and lie to you like I don't condone some of the bullshit either, but I can recognize that it's bullshit. So can we just look at that and say that, okay, that shit is actually fucked up as far as abortion. It's actually fucked up when you think about it. Yet, most women advocate for it. When Roe v. Wade got overturned, man, every woman you know was upset about that shit. Oh my god, like, your tubes is tied, bitch. Why is you even mad? So that's the society that we live in for everybody on their moral high horse and stuff like that. And yes, people, we not about to do this here. And I know some of y'all, especially if it's a woman who, like, some of y'all might get in the comments, like a pro abortion woman or a pro abortion man. It don't matter. Y'all might get in the comments and try to do the, well, it's not really a human being because, the first 6 weeks, man, fuck out of here, bro. Fuck out of here, bro. Like, motherfuckers done seen, like, shit that resembles a baby at the fucking clinic, bro. So we not about to get into all of that. So listen. Now that we passed that, now that we have established that point, this is the other thing about the society that we live in. It takes two to make a baby, right? Let me just cut through the bullshit. After the nut goes into the woman, consensually, because sex doesn't happen unless the woman wants it to happen. After the nut goes into the woman, she then has the full control, authority, and choice of what happens as far as that baby being birthed. The way it used to work is, okay, you're going to have this baby and that's it. And if you want an abortion, you can go and put a hanger up your coochie and stuff like that. That's illegal. You'll be a murderer. You're going to go to jail if anybody finds out. But that was the only option at one point. Now we get to this sophisticated society and this morally sound society that we have now, to where you can go to the clinic and get it ripped out of you and just, you be cool, and you do that 18 times if you want to do it. So after the conception, the woman has a choice to go and get a plan B. She has the what you call it, the control to get an abortion and stuff like that, all of that stuff. When you flip it to the other side, what choice do men have? What choice do men have? The only choice we have is to protect ourselves by having safe sex, responsible sex, wearing condoms, being abstinent, all that shit. That's the choice that we have. And when you heard the old girl in the first video, and probably even Scarface Mark, they both said something similar. That's the only choice that we have, is to protect ourselves and not nut in the chick, not have raw sex, probably even not have sex because condoms are not foolproof. So when you look at that, that's the only choice that we have. Now, when we talk about post-conception, after the nut, everything is in her hands. She gets all the choice. The issue that I have is we have no choice in the matter. So all this moral shit, all of this, what about the baby? What about, y'all don't be caring about the baby when it's in the chick's stomach. When it's out, that's when y'all start caring. Y'all don't care about the baby when it's in the chick's stomach, even though it can kick, it can do all types of shit. It can backflip, it can spin around. Y'all don't care at any point when it's in the chick's stomach. Y'all don't care. But when it's out, that's when y'all care. And listen, we already established that I do agree that it's fucked up for the daughter. But this is the thing. Her body, her choice, right? Her body, her choice. Let me say it again. Her body, her choice. If she wants to kill the baby in this country, she can kill the baby. She could kill it. She could get rid of the baby. That means if the man told her that he wanted a kid, she agreed, we gonna have kids. And then she gets pregnant and she decides, you know what? I am not having this kid. And he really wants this child. He has no say. He has no say. She could go to the clinic. She could get that baby terminated. She could get it terminated. And there is nothing he can do about it because it's her body, her choice. He wanted a baby. He can't get his baby. Now, when she gets impregnated by this man, we're in a pro-choice society, right? There's a lot of, you can go get an abortion in a bunch of states, right? Everybody's so mad at Roe v. Wade being overturned and stuff like that, right? Ant-Man allegedly either paid or tried to pay a chick $100K to get an abortion on another kid previously. But listen, when she is impregnated, and it could have been off a one-night stand to where they don't even know each other. It could have been off just a situationship or just like a sneaky link situation where they both know we just fucking, man. We just fucking. She gets pregnant and he says, yo, you should get an abortion. I'll pay for it. I do not want to have this kid. I'm not raising this kid if you have it. If he says all of that stuff, it doesn't matter. And let me tell you the extent that it doesn't matter in a moment. But it doesn't matter because it is not his choice whether the baby is had or not. Listen, it's not even his choice whether he financially supports the baby or not. That's how come in this case, what came up is, listen, I don't want custody. I don't want visitation. The only thing that we have to settle is the money, the finances. That's the society that we live in. Remember when he said being a deadbeat used to be frowned upon? It, the judicial system still frown upon it because they are going to make sure that that check is fucking obtained. They're going to make sure you cannot escape that fucking check. If she wants that fucking check, she is getting that fucking check. I promise you she's getting that fucking check. Now, what the check look like, I can't tell you. But she tried to max out. She said, bruh, she did the super bop 3,000 type shit, bruh. She said, you know what? I know the cap in California, you got to have a baby in California because that's how you get the 22 million per year. So let me, like, you know, the 80 million per year, whatever I can get out of this cat, whatever I can get the judge to agree to just milk this cat for, we could do that over there. You know, so she did that. And Ant's lawyers called it out. And we not going to highlight that. We not going to go over that. We not going to go in depth on that. No, we going to go in depth on him not raising his kid that he said he didn't want. The kid that he told her out his own mouth, don't have. And if you have it, I'm not going to raise it. I don't want nothing to do with that kid. I'm not trying to be a father to a kid that you conceived. He told her that. And she still had the baby. But guess what? She had it as a lick. And we don't look at her like you are a despicable motherfucker because you really just had this baby as a lick. You had a whole human being as a lick. We don't look at her like we just say, oh, she's, you know, and we just glaze over that. We just brush over that and just go straight to Ant. We go straight to Ant. But remember, somehow we used to frown upon deadbeats, but guess what? The court system, they still frown upon deadbeats. That's how come you gonna have that motherfucker. It's motherfuckers fighting for custody and fighting for all types of shit getting put through the ringer and shit like that through the court system as far as parental shit. But they're going to make sure they get those finances, whether you want to be a deadbeat or a great dad, it don't matter. They're going to come for those finances if she want those finances. Period, point blank. So we could say all this shit, but he's still going to be financially responsible. He's still going to be financially responsible, regardless of what he wants to do. Now, when we get past that, it goes back to what I said. It's okay for her to decide she doesn't want the child, but it's not okay for him to decide he doesn't want to raise the child. That's a society, like everybody can accept. Everybody, the majority can accept. If she doesn't want the child, she can abort the child. The majority of people can accept that. But people, like most people can't accept that if he doesn't want to raise the child, if he decided, yo, I do not want to have this kid. If he communicated that with her and she still proceeds to move forward, now, he's the bad guy. So in this whole thing, that's my biggest issue. The guys do not get a choice. They do not get a choice. Now, Scarface Mark mentioned, oh yeah, because he got money and stuff. We already went over the money and all that. We already went over the money and all that. I'm gonna tell you something real. This happens with regular people all the time. And when it happens with regular people, what Scarface Mark is talking about actually happens. Like the dude gets frowned upon when people find out to some extent. He gets frowned upon. He gets labeled a deadbeat. He gets looked at as a deadbeat. That's just what it is. The way that I personally look at it is two ways. And this is me being honest. As far as me moving forward, it's two ways. Number one, if it was me in that situation, I'm going to raise my seed regardless because it's my fucking seed. It's my fucking seed. And I'm going to keep it so real with you. Only way I'm not going to raise my seed is if you make it difficult for me to raise my seed. If I have to fight to raise my seed, why do I have to fight? I'm going to make sure I document everything as far as me having to fight so that when they come of age and stuff like that, I got all the receipts like, look, I wanted to raise you, but your mom made me fight. If they want to say, well, you should have fought harder, like, listen, fuck that. Fuck that. And if you want to hate me for the rest of your life because I didn't want to fight harder, hate your mom because she made it a fucking fight. As a matter of fact, that's your choice. You could not hate your mom. You could love your mom, but you a stupid motherfucker if you don't realize what she did. If you can't come to grips with what she did. But that's me personally. Let me go back. Let me step back a little bit. So the first thing, as far as how I look at this twofold, is, that's still a child. It's your seed. I do feel like you should raise it. Even though I said all this shit and you should have a choice and stuff like that, I feel like you should raise it. I feel like you should raise your kid because at the end of the day, this is going to be another person that is going to shape the society around us. And without the proper guidance from a male, excuse me, let me not say a male, let me say their biological father. Without the proper guidance from their biological father, and let's just pretend that the father is going to be a good guy to some extent, or at least a decent guy, we could have somebody who is destructive to society. There's a much higher chance that that person will be destructive to society. And that's something that you don't want. And for society to be better, we need dudes to step up. And I'm not talking about stepdads. I'm talking about the biological dads. They need to do that. So I'm not on here advocating for deadbeat dads. I do think that niggas should raise their kids. But this is the second thing, man. This is the second thing. I look at reality. I don't look at idealism because let me tell you some ideal shit. Some ideal shit is that my great, 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 great grandfather would have handed us down, that 40 acres and a mule that we were supposed to get. That's idealism. Idealism is, shit, I could have made the high school basketball team. And if I had slept more, instead of being fucking 5'10", I could be 6'3", especially if I took some growth hormones and shit. And I could have been in the fucking NBA because I'm good at rec. I'm good at motherfucking playing with bums and shit like that. That's fantasy land shit. As far as all of that shit, that's idealism. So you want to know what else is idealistic? The guy who said that he's not going to raise the kids before the pregnancy, actually stepping up and raising the kids, like saying, fuck that shit that I said. Let me raise the kids. That's how I did that. Like, that's not something to expect. When you look at a person telling you what they are or aren't going to do, you have to move forward accordingly. So the second thing is, what the fuck did you expect? When we look up and he is not raising the kid that he said he wasn't going to raise, you set yourself up for that life. You also set your kid up for that life. This is the life that you chose. It wasn't a mystery. There wasn't a, oh man, let's wait until the paternity test, or, he just went ghost and you MIA and you just don't know what's going on. He told you he's not raising that kid. You decided to have it. You decided to have it. After you decide to have it, If he doesn't raise the kid, listen, we could talk about shame. We could sit here and talk about morality and all of that shit. We could sit here and talk about what the kid is going to look at in the court documents and all that shit. When we talk about the reality, there's going to be a daughter without a father. There's going to be a daughter that grows up without a father. There's going to be a mother who has to raise the daughter by herself. And when we get to real life, I'm talking about fuck this millionaire shit that they got going on. When we get to real life, and that's the situation, it gets really hard for the average woman who is dating or who had sex with the average guy and is getting a child support check or whatever, but like, whatever you do, like it's still gonna be tough because you're not gonna have that masculine figure. When it come down to, I don't know if you got a village. Some of these chicks don't be having a village, you know, and you gotta handle everything yourself. You gotta handle everything yourself, and you gonna have that single mother pride and shit like that. But it's gonna eat away at you. It's gonna wear you down. It's gonna be crazy. The kids is gonna feel the effects and stuff like that. So that's what you're looking to deal with. That's the actual reality. And that is the reality that you chose. Now, as far as the daughter, she's going to have to deal with that. And that's the life that you chose for her. And we could point at Ant-Man and blame him all day. But the mom knew what she was getting into. And in this case, she was trying to hit a lick. So it is what it is. So the final verdict as far as this whole video, should Ant raise a fucking child? Yes. Is he going to raise a child? No. Am I mad at him? Fuck no. Well, I'm going to be mad at him in a society where we fucking praise abortions and shit like that and fucking line up talking about her body, her child. Like, why am I going to be mad? If this guy nutted in her, didn't set no expectations or nothing like that, and he was out raising another like, yeah, I would feel some type of way and stuff like that. In the future situations, I don't know if he communicate that shit. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm really not for absent dads. I don't like absent dads and stuff like that. But if a dude set the expectation in this society that we live in where motherfuckers line up marching for Roe v. Wade and get so mad and be all over social media fucking crying and shit. If we doing that and this motherfucker say, and he'll give you the money for the abortion. He get $100K to abort the baby. Like, he'll give you the money for the abortion. But you decide to have a kid, like, for a lick. It is what it is, man. Listen, it's two irresponsible people having sex. One who is extremely immoral, one who is undeniably irresponsible, which would be Ant. So that's the situation, man. So when you had that shit, listen, man, to the guys, listen, we could talk about this morality shit. You could disagree with me. You could agree with me. It don't matter, man. Protect yourself at all times like a fucking boxing match. Protect yourself at all times, because at the end of the day, we could have these conversations forever. He's not raising a fucking kid. He's not raising a kid. That's it. No matter what we think, he's not raising a kid. She's going to get the money. She did this to get the money. She's going to get the money. And that's the actual situation. No matter what I say, no matter what you think, that's the reality. And no matter what type of shame or anything y'all try to put on it, it's not going to do nothing. He's still going to go out and drop 30. He's still going to be cool. Karl Malone was fucking with kids. And he still be cool. He still be moving around. And just for any idiots, because, some people they don't understand nuance or anything. I don't support that shit at all either. I'm just saying the shame is not going to do what you think it's going to do. I'm done.